All right, so I am here today with the Saffron Man, giving me some of his time to answer some questions and hang out with us for a little bit. Before I try to go any further, you want to introduce yourself, Saf? What's your history with gaming? How long have you been playing Raid? How long have you been making content for Raid? Stuff like that.
Hi, man. Yeah, thanks for having me, first and foremost. I've been playing obviously games like everyone. Everyone kind of either starts off young or I don't know, they've always got some game that they kind of start off with. I went through the consoles when I was younger. I think the Sega Saturn was the first one I had, and I think it went to a NES and that. But I've always been playing games, and it's always been Diablo 2, something like that is what I've spent most time on. Nowadays, it's mainly like Rocket League and Raid, but I've been playing Raid for about 2 years now. So like November 2018 is when I kind of got started, and I was in the beta, and I was just having a go and playing about, and it just I don't know, it kept me. I don't know what exactly kept me to this game, other than the fact that it's the community. But I mean, I for some reason I'm always looking for that ground level entry into a game somewhere, right? Everyone's looking for that next big thing. I wasn't looking to create content or to start clans or a Discord or anything like that. But this game came in, and I don't know, I just stuck with it. And the natural progression was to do all the things that I'm sure we're going to be going over today, really.
Right. So actually, that gets right into something I wanted to ask you about. So you just said that your goal wasn't to make content getting into it. What
Right.
made you decide to go down that route?
So the one clan that we had was just doing really well, and our Discord was so bad starting out. Like people would literally join our Discord, delete our conversations from our tavern, and then just leave again. Right? Our Discords were so bad, but but we've evolved and we've just grown, and that natural progression of expansion of just came up, right? And so we went from one clan to three clans. Things were going well. And one of the clan members said in game, so what are the next steps? We've got three clans now. What's going to go forward? And I was like, well, yeah, I've always wanted to do like the podcast, so that would be good to do. But that was like 8 months before the first episode of the podcast kind of hit. So that podcast was like a really early idea, which I wanted to try and make happen. But yeah, it was just a natural form of evolution. I can't really do a podcast unless I'm creating content. And it just started on the last day of December, 2019, and yeah, New Year's Eve, and that was it. I just streamed for like 12 hours without a cam. Just doing Minotaur runs New Year's Eve, and got raided by Darth Micro, and even Stu Gaming chipped in with some raids, and Chosen came in as well. And I just felt really lucky at the start of my streaming journey, and everyone just kind of, I don't know, they stayed around. And that's, people don't always stay around unless there's something going on. And my community and the people that watch me each and every day, they just stayed around, right? And that was kind of a humbling experience, and it just made me want to do things better. And I just do. I had a purpose almost. I had a purpose, and that purpose was to keep all these people happy and having a good time. And I haven't had that kind of purpose for such a while. But it was just progression. The clans, in order to start creating content, the clans that I was in, they wanted to see that progression from me. They wanted to see us get bigger and better, um, and yeah, it's just kind of natural. But it just took. I didn't really have the gear to start streaming to start off with. So yeah, no cam. The quality was poor. You know, there was zero people there for several hours at a time until there wasn't. It is a slow journey, but I can't regret a single thing that we've done. I mean, the growth that we've had over the last 8 months has been it's pretty dramatic, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been playing my raid or playing raid myself for a little under 4 months now, somewhere a little over
Right.
three or a little under four. But I mean, when I started, I think that was kind of right in the middle of when you were growing a bit, because I saw some of your streams where you were talking about how some of your viewers had helped you out with some of your streaming equipment. Do you want to actually talk about that for a couple minutes? Like, how did that
Sure.
even get started?
So my like I mentioned, I had no cam. My PC wasn't my own. It was my grandfather's PC, which he's had for like 15 years. It sounded like a vacuum cleaner every time you turned it on. And honestly, everyone in chat could hear my fans, right? And it was just not only embarrassing, but I can't really produce the quality of content needed with fans like destroying the audio like that. I mean, the podcast is a talking show. If all they can hear is just fans, it's not really a good look.
Right.
So and that was it. So I literally asked the community, and they were like, "Well, I was like, look, I've got a really bad PC here. If we get a brand new PC, this is not only going to improve everything to here and now, but this is going to guarantee me being around in the Twitch scene and the content creation scene for years to come, right?" They're basically taking what the first 4 months of me streaming, which was a concept, into a reality. And yeah, they were just so amazing and so helpful. And I mean, not just one person either. I mean, we're talking like 10, 20, 30 different people all chipping in to build this monster £2,500 PC. And I can't be happier. Honestly, it's just it just runs amazing. I've gone from one dodgy monitor and to having to read chat on my phone, and we've got 3 monitors now, and one of them is just amazing. And it would I think the whole idea was to play Cyberpunk and have a PC capable of playing Cyberpunk. But the most graphics we've run so far are probably on RAID, honestly, at the moment. But yeah, it was a very humbling experience. I mean, it's just part of that growth that has just been so dramatic. And that PC getting built is absolutely, I don't know, it's a centerpiece of everything that we've done so far, because we're building everything on around for that now. But I never would have dreamt to have a PC like this, and to actually have it and use it on a day-to-day basis. I mean, the desk I got is just been transformed over the past 8 months and actually looks like a professional kind of setup. And I'm just sitting here smiling because I just still can't quite believe we got to this point, honestly. But yeah, ever thankful. And yeah, they're a mad community, this community. If they're happy with something and they want something to happen, they'll do it for sure.
So it feels like you're kind of touching on it a little bit, but you said you've played a lot of other games, and it seems like you've kind of stuck with Raid for quite a bit now, almost 2 years. So what's really been the biggest difference between the Raid community and maybe some of the other communities you've been a part of?
Well, for starters, I've never really tried to create content for another community before. So I've played Rocket League for as long as it's been out on consoles. And then I'd kind of converted to the PC. But Rocket League community is very competitive because its game is literally a 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3, right? But I wasn't really into that competitiveness. I wanted to improve, but I was more into the collecting of the items and stuff. And I think it's the same kind of thing with Raid. There's so many things going on. There's so many areas in the game which you can get drawn into. And you want to be collecting all of these characters. You want to be collecting all of these gear pieces. You want all of these fast times and potion dungeons, for example. But the community just adds so much more to that. Like, if they would have said at the beginning of the year on my first stream, oh, in a few months' time, you're going to be doing competitions for Polarium and doing a podcast with Wacky Jackie and everyone else that's been on it, I would like, yeah, you're on something, mate, But the community just really, they've pushed me to want to do better things and get people involved. And yeah, just internally grateful, really, man.
So what actually made you decide that the podcast was something you wanted to do?
So that's an easy one. So everyone was making content back then, and I didn't want to be in anyone's shadow, and I didn't want to be a copycat. I wanted to do things my way, uniquely, and do something different that no one else was doing. And like I said, we come up with the podcast idea like 8 months beforehand. We actually had, before this podcast, we had another podcast called the Houses of Saffron podcast, which was just a podcast with myself and the Discord members. And we did like 2 or 3 episodes of that, but it turns out that not everyone was as committed to the game as I was in terms of wanting to turn up and stuff, right? So my next evolution from that podcast was to get content creators involved. And it was literally like, I asked Stu Gaming had been on the channel. He's been enjoying the channel quite a lot on the early months. And I was like, Stu, fancy jumping on a raid podcast? He's like, yeah, I'm down. Had a chat with Stu. He's like, you got Hell Hades involved as well. And then Cold Brew shortly after, Incredible John. And straight off the bat, I've got like 4 or 5 really massive names in the community wanting to take part in the podcast. And that was it. And so it's just been a passion to do something different, to bring the community together and have a laugh at the same time, if and whenever possible. And yeah, just wanted to be different, mate. I mean, I've played games before. The Division and the Division 2, they had a podcast also, State of the Game, they called it. And that was really popular because they had so many bugs and issues. And there was so many issues going around with Raid, not only on now, but back then. You know, people like Cirilla and Valkyrie were getting like stalked or whatever, which was just stupid. And I really didn't like the idea that Valkyrie, Cirilla, the Diamond were like being put in the Discord as the face of the community and all that kind of stuff was happening. So the literal wanting to make the podcast bigger and better was to try and take that pressure a little bit off them and just help people out. And the idea was to try and get a sound development, anyone from the office, from sound development, whatever, marketing, to get them on the podcast whenever we can. We've had Cirilla on. We want to get the Diamond on. But yeah, I'd like to get more people from the office in on the podcast, just talk to us about a few of the real topics, and so we can help people out. Otherwise, we're just waiting for each update, and it's just not very helpful. But yeah, State of the Game was helpful for the Division. I thought it could be very helpful for the raid community in the long term too.
So, how do you manage to stay positive? I hear from a lot of content creators, just a lot of negativity. We hear especially on Reddit or some of the Discord groups, there's a lot of negativity about the game. But in general, you seem like you do a very good job of keeping positive about, like, sometimes the direction of the game, but mostly like the community and how you're doing in the game itself right now. Do you have the ability to speak to that a little bit?
Oh, of course. I think that's just a mindset. I mean, before we started streaming and stuff like that, and yes, I had the Discord community, and yes, we were playing Raid quite a lot, and the community was growing. But life wasn't amazing. Like, it wasn't the best. The outlooks weren't great. It really was not the best place to be in. And then we took a chance, and here we are 8-9 months later, and we're doing what we're doing. I think that positivity just comes with enjoyment of what I'm doing and the journey that I'm on. I get so annoyed with Plarium and some of the decisions that they make and some of the actions that they do, just like everyone else, right? But I love this community. I love what we've kind of become and what we're doing. I believe the direction that we're heading is right. We're not annoying everyone. We're creating friends. We're bringing people together, whether it be community members or Discord or Plarium officials or streamers or musicians. I'm always trying to bring people together, and that's what I enjoy the most, right? And it's kind of hard to be negative. I do have my negative moments. There are times I kind of lose the plot a little bit, but then I gather myself, I realize what we're doing, and yeah, it's kind of hard to not be positive when you look at the grand scheme of things over the last 9 months, honestly.
That seems fair to me. So, what's been the hardest part? Like, what have your stumbling blocks for the podcast been? Like, is it difficult to get people to come on every week, or do you have like a long line of people trying to sign up, or how does that work for you?
A bit of both. So obviously starting off, it was just it was like the usual 5 or 6, but then obviously got to a point where Hades was getting so big. Then he couldn't offer 2 hours every week. Cold Brew couldn't do it. Stu obviously being in Japan, it'd be a complete different time zone. That was one of the battles as well. So I couldn't get him on every week. So yeah, it was just time to spread out and get as many people on. I tried to get one person new on each week, so we get an origin story each week, right? I've tried 2 people before, and then it goes into like we're talking about origin stories for the first half an hour out of a 2-hour podcast. So it's kind of I didn't want that to happen. I've
Right.
tried different balances of people, like 4, 5, 6 people, including myself. So I have done experiments over the last 4, 5, 6 weeks as well, especially. But it's all about the balance, man, and getting those characteristics. You need to know who you can have a laugh with and who's a bit more serious, right? Now, FC, as much as I love him, I mean, when I introduced him on the podcast, it's like, "How you doing, FC? You doing good?" He's like, "Yep, awesome." I said, "So what you been doing in arena?" Yeah, it reset. I'm like, all right. So some people are different to get that information out, right? And I don't. Some people need that settling in period for the podcast. So if it's 2 hours long, they might not open up until the first half an hour is over, where they feel comfortable to have that conversation, right? So yeah, it's just the difficulties are the timelines, getting the right balance on. Yes, there's people that want to come on each and every week, but I don't if I don't know them. So I've had to go with people that I know rather than people that I don't because
Right.
of the other people that are on it. I would love to get like Dragon Grind and a few others like that, but I don't know Dragon Grind that well. And honestly, there's so many people coming through the content creators program that are signed up that I do know a bit more. And so I kind of having to take those on priority. Like I've seen more of Bearded Gamer. I think Bearded Gamer is fantastically positive, and so I would love to get him on the podcast. But then Wacky Jackie turns up, and you can't really say no to Wacky Jackie. So I've kind of had to sort of to get. I don't know. I've tried to delay Bearded Gamer for another week, so I need to get in touch with him this week. But there's so many, mate, and there are so many people that want on. Some people think it's unfair that they haven't got on yet, and I'm just like, I can only have one person a week. I can only have 3 or 4 other different people as well on that same podcast. If people turn up like Cirilla and stuff, they kind of need to take priority. There are so many content creators in this game. There's like 42 in the official Discord or something at the moment. Not half of them have been on the podcast yet. So the list is long, and like the community members want to get involved as well. I've actually been thinking about doing a House of Saffron podcast part 2. So just my community can have a week, like have a discussion each week. But yeah, there's lots of interest in the podcast. I see lots of clans are doing podcasts of their own as well now. So again, is why I wanted to get it done, like get in there as soon as we could. And it's working out at the moment, but I need to keep on pushing, keep on getting some right casts, keep the fun happening, keep everyone enjoying it. And yeah, I'm still looking at different activities to do within the game. I'm not sure about quizzes. Chosen's kind of doing the quizzes at the moment. We're doing giveaways now. So we've just had the Harvest Jack reskin go well, which is awesome. We've now got the Raid Joke competition. So yeah, they're doing all right. I need to try and keep things flowing and keep things busy and make sure everyone enjoys it, right?
Right. Well, I mean, as an outsider, it seems like you enjoy it quite a bit, and the people that come on enjoy their time on there. But what's the overall community response been?
So it started off with just 1 or 2 people saying, "Oh man, really like the podcast. I'm getting pizza with my brother, and we just listen to it. And I mean, COVID just pretty much started hitting then as well, and so it was a social thing for a weekend to do with their friends, their relatives, or whatever, right? And that was really humbling. In a time where the world was going pretty nuts, where it still hasn't really recovered, people were finding solace in the podcast, and that kind of reached me more than anything else, honestly. And so yeah, I loved getting stuff like that. But now it's like, I mean, I'll go onto the video for the recent one, and they're like, this is now a weekly thing now. I look forward to this every week. It's becoming an installment of their weekend, is listening to that podcast, whether it be with their friends, family, or just on their phones by themselves. I mean, the fact that we're on Spotify as well and people can just listen to it, I like that. People can listen to it wherever they like. And yeah, it's some great positive feedback. Also, you do get some negative feedback as well. Like also this guy, we had an El Hain fan. I did a really bad El Hain joke on the podcast to try and give people an idea to create a joke of themselves. And this one guy was absolutely livid that I slandered like El Hain. He didn't kind of get it, but you always get those guys, right?
Yeah.
But take the good for the bad. The feedback has been great, and I do take it to heart as well. I mean, I do read every single comment, and it's not like thousands or anything else like that. But I mean, I do read them all, and yeah, it's just it fills the heart when some podcasts go really well, and there are sometimes I because it's live, right? There's no backseas. It's a live show, and if I stumble on a question or if there's a little bit of an awkwardness, like it's tough to kind of move on from that. And I'm like, it wasn't really a smooth podcast. Oh, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. I could have asked this question. Why didn't I ask that question? But when you get the feedback at the end of each podcast, and yeah, I know that I can still improve going forward. No one is perfect. I do believe each week is getting better in terms of the cast, production, our growth in numbers, and the community event and stuff. So, but yeah, it's just trying to keep it fresh now and trying to add new things in there and just making sure that people have a good time, bring in that info that they were looking for, and have some really cool laughs with the cast, right?
Right, right, exactly. So through talking to you, it kind of feels like I might have asked my questions in a bit of a weird order, because it seems like you were in charge of a couple of clans before you even decided to do any sort of content. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, so before we created any content, like 6 7 months, we decided to grow from one clan to three clans, um, and yeah, so that was it. And the idea was to try and get different people in the community to start up their clans under our banner and go from there. Um, Note to anyone interested in creating clans in the future: you just create an alt account, get yourself in that clan as leader, and then give them the deputy, right? As long as you have ownership of your clan, anything else doesn't matter. But if you hand over the clan, say, oh, can you two run my clan for me? That's awesome. No matter how much they're under your name, they can up and leave at any second. And that's kind of what did happen to one of our clans. So yeah, I didn't have ownership. I was a deputy in that clan, even though it was under my name, this, that, and the other. They didn't agree with one or two things, so they decided to throw all the prams out the chair, and they kicked everyone from the clan, right? So I had to basically create a new clan instantly, get that sorted, and that was fine. But they still had that clan running to this day.
And it's got
Um,
your name on it.
Right. But now after that fiasco, you kind of learn the hard way, right? So after that, every single clan that I've got an alt account in there. I've got its leader, everyone else that runs the clans, the deputies, and everyone's happy, right? I don't have to log onto that account unless there's something going on. I can just talk to the officers and deputies, right? But yeah, we started off with just the one clan, obviously. We then expanded to three, and when streaming was going really well, and everyone was asking for a clan, I thought it'd be a good idea to start three clans within a week. And it wasn't such a good idea, but we still did it, I think. But yeah, don't ever start three clans in a week, mate. That is from scratch as well. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, that was a lot of behind the scenes work to make that happen. But yeah, it was good. I wouldn't change anything now. We've got six clans. We're all running smoothly. We've upgraded our Discord over the last few weeks lately as well. And so that looks fantastic. It's a lot more efficient. It's a lot more smooth lined, and people are enjoying that. So yeah, we're just making improvements all over the shop, and the clans were the big part of it. We wouldn't be able to do it without any of those clans, and we're thinking about either merging to get a few more later, or just create some more soon. So more clans in the future, no doubt, I reckon.
So is this something that you've done in the past? Like, were you in charge of like guilds or clans or whatever they were in other games? Or was Raid the first time you decided, you know what, I'm going to put my hat in the ring and give this a shot?
So mobile game before there was a Family Guy card game, gacha game or something. I can't remember what it was called, but I was playing that for like a good 8 months, and I had a few clans. But I don't know. I've always been like, whenever I've done sports, I've always been like the captain or whatever like that. Right? I don't know what it is. I've just always wanted to do things like my way. Um, but then life doesn't let you do that in the outside. When you're working a 9 to 5, you don't get to do things your way. You're doing things the company's way or the boss's way or whatever. And that just sucked me because I always had so many questions like, why are you doing it this way? You just do things that way. So I kind of had to do things my own way. And yeah, I have done stuff in the past, but not to this extent. I've never played WoW, so I've never had clans in WoW or anything like that. But this is the longest time we've ever set up. I mean, I've never had a community. I may have run a clan or something before, but we've never had a community before. Even when I was trading in Rocket League, we got a few people, but it was never really a community. So this is just another level for sure.
So, what's the hardest part of starting or being in charge of a clan, and then later on now being in charge of a good number of clans? What are you up to, 6 now? Is that what you said?
Yeah, we're up to 6 at the moment. I'd say one of the hardest things to start off with was finding a spine. I don't know, that sounds weird, but I mean, when you're starting off in a community, you want everyone to be happy, right? Now, when you're starting, we had a couple of bad eggs, and honestly, looking back, I should have probably got rid of those bad eggs a lot sooner than what I did. But I was too focused on making everyone happy that I kind of brushed over. Now, making everyone else happy though, that made me feel really bad. I was going to, I'm not happy with that situation, and I was kind of soaking that in, and that wasn't good. So, one of the hardest things is knowing when to act and when to not. And when you're trying to build something, if there's a bad egg, you just need to get them out, stay true to yourself, and build what you're trying to do in your direction. Don't let anyone else try and tell you otherwise. By all means, take on advice from those that you hold close to you. I mean, I'm very lucky that I've got some awesome people around me now to say the right things and to make sure I don't make any big mistakes or anything. But I mean, early on, when it is just you and you have to make those decisions, you have to kind of live or die by them, and you have to have the bigger picture involved all the time. And if there's a 1, 2, or a small cluster of people that it's just going to rot and get bigger and bigger and bigger until you deal with that situation. So deal with situations head on, be true to yourself, have the bigger picture in mind when you make those decisions, and yeah, be swift. And it's easier to heal than to just live around the rot. It's really tough. So just make those decisions early on and just stay true to yourself, really. But yes, it's hard to make those decisions. You don't know, any decision you make is going to cascade and affect others in any shape or form, right? So any decision could be good for some and bad for others. You kind of have to contemplate that. But as long as you've got that bigger picture in mind that everyone else is kind of signed up for, the little decisions, people will understand. They'll stick by you for it.
So on a more positive note, what's easier than you were expecting to be in charge of a clan, or now even for a cluster of clans?
Um, I don't know if I don't know if anything is easy. I mean, it all takes up time. Let's say I stream for 12 hours a day. I've then got another potentially 4 to 6 hours from Discord, throughout the day as well. So it does take up the time. It does. I mean, there's 101 things that I need to improve on as well. And I've got a long list of things that I need to do. But I wouldn't say nothing is easy. I mean, it just all adds up. There's so many little things that you can't even comprehend or predict. I'm always trying to see as far into the future as I can. But having 6 clans, there's all these things that just pop up which are unexpected. A certain player wants to leave now because they're done, and a certain a group of people just aren't fed up with the game, or they got some bad pulls. They spent like $1,000 and they didn't get the character that they want or something. So, there's nothing easy. You just got to kind of predict. Just try and stick to that game plan. There's nothing particularly easier than what I thought. There's just lots more than what I could have, thought would, to go on to happen. There's so many spider webs attached to things. It's hard to kind of comprehend, really. But yeah, there's nothing really easy. There's just so many little things which take up your time each day.
So, if someone came to you and said that they wanted to start a clan now, what
Yeah.
would be the biggest piece of advice you could give to them?
Make sure you have the time to not only be there for them, but to listen to them as well. So it doesn't matter if your Discord has 10 people in or 10,000 people in. If you're not there to listen to what is going on, then you're not going to know. Like, So I am with my Discord. I am in tune, whether it be I'm on the PC or on my phone, whatever. I know exactly what's going on in my Discord at all times, pretty much. So just staying in tune with what's on. Now you don't have to react or act on anything that you see there. I mean, if you've got a Discord, you have offices and stuff, then you have to delegate those roles to do that. But I'm still in oversee mode, and I do oversee everything, and it's you've got to know when to kind of take that step back and to let things be. I mean, to start off with, I was involved in everything, in every channel, in every reply. I was all over it. But at some point, you need to take that step back and just oversee and let everyone do their jobs, and just let the community be happy, right? So I'm not as active in my Discord now because I've learned to take that step back and just let everyone be. If they want to get in touch with me, then they're most welcome to do so. But yeah, I oversee everything now, but I don't get involved half as much as what I used to.
Okay. So I know that we had several questions lined up that I had planned to ask. Is there anything that came up as we were talking that you kind of we didn't get to touch on, but you do want to talk about for a couple minutes, or?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that keeps me doing what I'm doing, other than the community, is being able to put back in the community, right? Talk about good feelings and stuff. So we've had some amazing streams on our channel, but we've also been in an opportunity to raid other channels, and give them that good feeling and make their days, weeks, and months. And one of those was a musician called Good Game Curry. She made our theme tune for the Saffron Man, and I don't know. We just raided her one time, and she was so happy with like a raid of like 50 or so people that she started jamming on her guitar like the Saffron Man. And I was like, wow, that's pretty sick. That's pretty cool. And we went back like a few months later, and I was like, hey, she's still like amazing. Like she's got the most amazing voice. And then I asked her, I was like, do you fancy doing a theme tune for me? And she's like, yeah, all over it. And she come up, mate, with the most amazing track. And so as a thank you, we went over to her channel. We planned it. We got her community involved, my community involved, went over to her channel. And in half an hour, we brought a $1,000 electrical piano. We got over 100 subs, and I think it was over 10,000 bits in half an hour. And that kind of action changes people's lives on a certain level. And that was a very proud moment for myself and for the community. It was really cool that we can put back into the community and do those good things for other people. I mean, good things should happen to good people. Curie definitely deserved it. She got her piano today, actually, so she's very, very happy. But yeah, I love doing good things like that for good people. We'll raid anyone. I mean, Fixion with his charity streams as well. I love stuff like that. So yeah, I just love doing good things where I can and when I can.
So chat's telling us that they want to hear it. Is it something that is it something I would want to have on the stream? I haven't heard this at all. This is live
I
for
can
me.
send it to you, man. It's all good. I can send it to you. They've heard it like 10 times already. It's all good.
Okay.
Play it. We'll do the interview. They can hear it 9 times. It's going to be on Spotify soon, though, chat. So don't worry. But yeah, I'll send it to you, man. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, actually, when it goes live on Spotify, let me know, and I can edit below the video on YouTube so that there's a link
Well,
to it there as well.
I can send it to you individually. So if you wanted to put it like as an outro for the YouTube video, you're most welcome.
Okay, that would work too.
Cool.
So before we wrap anything up, are there any other content creators that are either smaller or up and coming that you want to give a shout out to that you've been impressed with, or doing something that's a little different than the norm?
So it's real tough. So the only time that if you're content creating, the only time that you really get to see other people is either when you raid them yourself or when other people kind of give a shout out. But there are so many people in this community that are trying to do things the right way. As individuals and in turn as a collective. So Fixion, who you've had on your channel before as well, we all know what's going on in his life at the moment, and he's still pumping out that content. He's still growing, he's still smiling, he's still doing his own thing. So it's that kind of stuff which inspires you to do more. But there's so many people like Pandas 114, not a massive content creator. He's literally just started streaming because he enjoyed my stream from playing Rocket League and this, that, and the other. And so there's actually been quite a few streamers that have said that I've inspired them to start streaming. I don't know if I'm making this look easy or what, but I'm telling you, it's not easy what we're doing. And there is I'm William Cohn. Everyone knows William Cohn. He started streaming on Sundays now, and it's not easy. I mean, the amount of work that goes into just being ready to be there in front of camera is beyond insane. And then you've got to actually talk to a camera. Now, I don't know, I'm not very photogenic. I hate my photo being taken, always been that way. But then I've got to talk to a camera. Now, unless you've talked to a camera before, like it's kind of a daunting task. It's just this lit up circle, and the spotlight is literally on you, and I don't know, it takes a bit of adjusting to. What the Fulcrum, she's just started streaming, and I said to her, she's having that same issue, like talking to the camera. I said, look, think of it as a video diary, right? You just think of it as a video diary. You're just saying your non-political views and your emotions, and the chat will just get back to you. They'll engage in that interaction, and you'll find. So think of it as just a video diary. It's just you and the camera, and if chat likes what they're saying, you'll soon start to get responses, right? But yeah.
So I do have one last question for you.
Go for it, man.
I know you said that you were excited to get the chance to be on the other side. How do you feel in hindsight now about being asked the questions instead of asking them?
I feel like I could talk for Britain. I feel like I could talk for hours, mate. This time has really kind of flown. Yeah, I kind of enjoy it, honestly. It's been good, man. I mean, so I'm going to go in interview mode slightly myself.
Yeah,
why did you want to do interviews? Why did you want to do this sort of stuff?
So I think, like a lot of people, because of the COVID, we just haven't had the opportunity to interact with people in person as much as we would have liked.
Yeah.
And when I picked up Raid, honestly, it was just another streamer had gotten sponsored, so I started playing it a little bit. But I really stuck around because of the community.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do something to kind of put a spotlight on that. So it's not me, it's not what people are doing in the game, but I wanted the interviews to kind of let people know what the raid community actually is about. Like, why do people stick with the game so long if most people have some major complaints about the game or the content or the company or what have you, yet they still stick around and keep playing. And I wanted to highlight that.
I think that's the age group, honestly. I think if you're not 15 years old playing Raid Shadow Legends,
Right.
It's just not happening. So I mean, most of the people that play this game are either young adults or they're already set out in life, and they can afford to play this game to some extent. So I think most of the community are wiser adults, shall we say? So I think that's a big part to this positivity, right? And yes, I mean, we can all complain when things go wrong, but I think we all have a right to complain when things go wrong. If a game development company that we all love to play does something silly or stupid, we should have a voice and say so. However, whenever there's anything good going on, this community has been amazing. Like, you've got this chicken competition that's been happening. Lots of good feedback from that. The Affinity Cup was a fantastic thing to be a part of, by the way. That was like the first. I was in awe when I got into that. I was like, the first thing was a marble race, and we had Kizzle, Murdering, Cold Brew, Stew, Hell Hades, who am I missing? J Gigs, and a few others. I was in like, wow, it's like celebrity land right here. I'm like, and that was really like a cool moment. But yeah, we've just been really lucky. But yeah, I don't know, man. I really think that you're onto something here. I think you've read really good. I wanted to do kind of one-on-one interviews as well, but I just don't have the time to do that in addition, and two, I thought it was going to take things away from the podcast.
Sure.
But yeah. I really think you've done a fantastic thing with Fixion and Taco already, and I'm looking forward to who else did you have on your list?
So I've got a couple of people that I've reached out to. I don't want to give any names that I'm still in talks with, in case it falls through. because I don't want to say, hey, yeah, I'm talking to someone, and then a month goes by and you guys see that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
That can look kind of weird either for me or for that person. I don't want to put anyone in a weird position by saying, hey, yeah, I'm talking to them. Um, but I did interview a Reddit user, WSoul13. He goes by Soul.
Okay.
He has been working on like a free to play like guide series for a while now. He was actually a really cool guy to talk to, but he had a free to play auto Spider 20 farm, not really farm team, but completion to be able to post to Reddit. There was a very reasonable team, and there was a
Right.
lot of stuff that people were commenting on that, and it got pushed around some of the circles. So I got him on, and was kind of able to pick his brain a little bit. Um, but again, it's kind of just trying to focus on content creators that are doing things a little bit differently as well, because then they
Yeah.
also have a slightly different viewpoint on their communities as well. It's not just, well, yeah, I talk to my viewers in Discord and on Twitch, and that's the end of the day. So
Right.
they can give a different viewpoint as well. Um, Someone that I would like to reach out to, I haven't talked to him yet, so I don't mind throwing his name out there. I'd like to talk to Deadwood Jedi. Um,
Yeah.
I know everyone is, he's kind of like on the forefront of everyone's mind because he's been putting out some amazing content. Um,
Yeah.
but also just the fact that he does go above and beyond, right? Like his website is an incredible repository of useful information for the game. Um,
Right.
he's obviously a very, very analytical person, which for my stream kind of fits very well. A lot of my viewers are like that as well. Obviously, I am. I'm a very much a math guy.
Yeah.
So he's someone that I'm going to be reaching out to because I would like to get him on here at some point. Um, but like I said, there's a couple of people I've in talks with, but
Yeah.
like I said, I don't really feel comfortable giving out their names
No,
in
that's
case it
fine,
falls
mate.
through.
That's why I don't announce my cast, my podcast, to like Thursday, Friday, like a day or two before, because things change, right?
Right.
There's nothing you can do. If I announce someone on Monday and something's happened on Friday, that's kind of letting people down. So yeah, I kind of leave it to last second. There's not a lot of room to kind of hype things up and stuff, but that's just the way it is, right? I'd rather sort of let people know and not disappoint people for who's going to be on the podcast and stuff. But yeah, Deadwood would be a really good conversation, man. I mean, he's been doing the rounds on a lot of content creators lately as well. He's a very popular guy. I wouldn't be surprised if Polarium actually bought that website off him in the near future. I mean, it's already got the numbers, it's got everything that they want. I mean, why wouldn't they buy it? I don't know. So
Yeah.
if I was Deadwood, I'd be looking to sell that thing in a year, maybe. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, it's gonna be. I think the same thing for Fiction's website, a Raid Focus.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, that everyone went there for the Affinity Cup, and if they do another competition like that, I'm sure people are going to be going to the Raid Focus. And if that keeps getting the views of what it has been getting for those cups, Polari might want to buy that off them as well. So that'd be pretty cool. But Polari should be doing these things. They should be waiting to be entrepreneurs for the content creators. And I mean, if I was Polarium, I'd be wanting that Clan Boss website as part of my own official website, right? I mean, everyone's on it. Everyone gets their information there. It's a fantastic idea. It's helpful. It's easy. Like people, why wouldn't you want that on your website? And same with Raid Focus. I mean, it's a perfect name already. It wasn't, named like that. It just happened to be named, and we play Raid. And it's just such a great idea from Fixion. I just hope that they can continue to build that website and to do some things to it. Because Deadwood's website is always evolving, always moving forward, but Fix has something there as well, and I just hope that you can get something going on that for sure.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say, for anyone that's listening or in chat right now, there's way more on Deadwood Jedi's website than just the arena calculator and just the clan boss calculator. You really, really should give a look through everything that's on there. It really is an incredible resource.
I think it's game changing for new players and old players, right? Could you imagine playing this game brand new and having a calculator for your clan boss team? Like,
yeah, that would have been helpful.
That just wasn't possible like 18 months ago. It wasn't there. And now people are coming into the game. They've got all these strats with unkillables, and oh mate, there's so many more variations in clan boss teams now than there ever have been before. And now you have a calculator to do most of the hard work for you. and it's crazy. It really is good. It's game changing, and now he's trying to do things like that, like an arena calculator. Now he's trying to expand that idea, and I think it's fantastic. Honestly, it's good.
Right. Well, I mean,
Mm.
the game at the end of the day is just a relatively deterministic mathematical model, right? Like there
Right.
is an amount of RNG, but it's not enough past like crits and like the ranges of damage. And if that's not what you're looking for, and you're just looking for speed, it is entirely deterministic. So it is definitely something that you can put together, and I'm glad that someone's out there doing it, especially someone like Deadwood Jedi that seems to be so interested in just helping other people.
Yeah. I think it's just a fun character, right? He wants to have a laugh. He wants to be helpful, and we're lucky in Raid. Raid has a lot of people like that. Now, there's a lot of people that obviously are very individual and do things slightly differently, but there are so many humble, helpful people in this community, content creators or not, and I think that's 99% why most people are saying. I think I was on Chosen stream the other day. Darth Microtransaction was on there. Obviously, he's just been basically removed from the community pretty much by Polarium, and that was the one thing he said he missed was the community, right? And I kind of can't blame him. And this community is worth a lot of things to many people, and that's exactly why I'm going to try and take the podcast to the USA tour, right, and do the tour of the whole state, whole America. A year of my life traveling to each of the different states and do a podcast each week in each state. And so that's my plan, is to go traveling in America when COVID sorts itself out, and do a world tour, well, a world tour, do just a year of traveling for the podcast in America. And just to go and meet everyone, really. So that'd be really cool.
I am unfortunately going to have to force you to agree to let me be on when you are either in Illinois, Missouri, or Indiana, because
Oh, mate, you are right there. It's all good. I'm down. So yeah, basically, right where we're at, we're looking for a place to start the journey, and then so we can fixate a reference starting point. Now we know Plarium have offices in America, but we don't know if A, they'll be interested in this whole tour thing, or B, if they would even want me to go there. But if they are interested, then technically I could become an Plarium employee, a Plarium employee for a year, and so we could go to their offices as a base and just build the tour around from there. Or if not, we've got to do things slightly differently. But the idea is to travel to 4 states a month, and in for 1 week out of each month to hold a big event. So let's say TwitchCon is in October. So we save TwitchCon. We host a podcast at TwitchCon that weekend. The other 3 will be like state side community events, right? But we have one big event each month, and do that for a year. So that's pretty much the plan at the moment. But there is obviously, as you can imagine, so much that needs to get sorted out. But yeah, that is the plan at the moment. Fingers crossed, probably about 12, 18 months time. We'll see.
yeah, I
We'll see.
mean, to be fair, that sounds like a logistical nightmare in normal times, and I don't think anyone in their right mind would call the world as it is normal.
No, but I mean, at the same time, what we're supposed to do, put all our plans on hold.
Right, right.
So right now, I'm just doing all the paperwork kind of stuff. I'm getting everything kind of planned out, and if things get sorted out in 6, 12, 18 months or whatever, then we'll be ready, right? So that is the plan. That is the plan.
Sounds good. My suggestion for you is make sure that you're not on the East Coast in snow season.
Okay, all right. Oh,
Uh,
it's another logistic I haven't even thought about. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
They get quite a bit of snow in the Northeast, so that's something you
So
definitely want to avoid if you can.
I was thinking of getting all the tricky states out of the way first, though, right? So like maybe Hawaii. We start off there with a bang, and then where does Darth live? I forget where Darth lives, but he lives in a cold, isolated area, and I can't remember where that is. But that would be really tough to get to as well. So maybe we get up there. But yeah, and then I just want to get into do all the tricky ones first, and then so we got ready for a bus. We get a bus or a car or something like that, and then we could just drive the rest of the states. But there's a few tricky states in there which are going to take a little bit of planning. So we'll
Right.
see, we'll see. Alaska, there we go. Yeah, Alaska's going to be tough. Oh man.
Yeah, you'll probably have to either start or end with Hawaii and Alaska.
Right, exactly. So I'm thinking of just starting them off because I'm thinking if it does happen, we're obviously going to get bigger as the year goes on. So I'm thinking maybe we could end the whole year with a raid con, right? Like the last podcast of the year in America, it could be Polarian's first official raid con, for example, which could be pretty cool. I mean, they could have cosplay, they could have awards, they could have content creators in there. I mean, that could be a really cool thing. So first ever raid con, we're all dreamers in my chat apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Um, well, I don't have anything else, Saf. So, is there anyone else that you haven't given a shout out to yet that you definitely want to bring up before we wrap this up for the day?
Yeah, no worries. There are so many people, mate. I mean, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's been really cool to come and have a chat with you, buddy. But yeah, there are just so many people I want to say thank you to. I mean, each and every single one of my generals and officers, Fixion, Taco, I mean, Crash and Burn, Two Geeks, whatever, Afmec, Never, Lyrical Dragon, Havoc, like they're just the people that are online at the moment. There are so many people in my Discord that have done amazing things for me and continue to help me each and every day. So thank you for that. Just thank you to everyone that's jumped on board of the podcast, and thank you to everyone that listens to the podcast each and every week. We are growing each and every week as well. I hope you will see the differences in terms of our looks and our layout. We've applied for partner again as well, so we are doing all these improvements. That's down to each and every one of you guys allowing me to do that, right? So thank you so very much to everyone. And yeah, honestly, thanks to all the content creators, man. I mean, Hell Hades and Stu have been massive for me. Hell Hades continues to do shout outs on his YouTube. Stu continues to come and drop donations and stuff whenever he doesn't need to. Chosen is still doing some big things, and the camaraderie with the content creators is second to none. And I just want to thank them all for that as well. I mean, even the content creators like Layla, Fox Nation, Shannon, Nicole, who recently joined the content creators program. There's 40 plus content creators, and they're all doing amazing things in the right way with communities of this game. This game is getting bigger. People aren't, I know people are leaving, but this game is just getting so big, and I'm grateful for that too. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to come on here, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate bringing you on. You definitely have a different view than most people do, just because from so much of the different things that you've done in terms of content with the being in charge of clans and doing the podcast. It's just not a view of the community that most people get a chance to have.
How do you mean?
Um, so the average player and even the average streamer, they're not really in charge of a clan, right? Like they
Right.
have kind of like a
They
hands off, like they're a participant, not a leader
they
in a
log on
sense.
each day and they play the game, but they're not really making the decisions and stuff, right?
Right, right.
Right.
So, like I said, I thought I wanted to try to get you on. Well, obviously now worked out because again, you do have that different view, and like you were saying, like so much of your life, your daily hours while you're awake has to be dedicated to raid in your community. Otherwise, you won't succeed. So you have to
Right.
be looking at things in a different way than other people do.
It's that bigger picture, right? It's just you got to have that bigger picture. If you're not looking, so when I played the guitar, when I first taught myself a guitar, it was like I learn a melody each day, like just a melody, like match of the day or top of whatever tune, and then each day I'd learn a pop song every week. And I'd learn a really tough song each and every month, and something like classical each and every year. So each day, each week, each month, each year, I'm learning something and keeping myself active. Same kind of thing in anything you want to do. You want to be trying to look as far ahead as you can and stay focused as where you are at the same time. It's a balance, but you have to have that plan. What you're doing this week, what you're doing in next month, what you're doing today, where do you want to be by the end of the year? I want to be having 8,000 follows by the end of the year. So my Twitchversary, that is my goal, is to have 8,000 follows within 12 months. That is my goal, as well as I want to get merch done by Halloween. I want to get the website up by Christmas. I want to do the podcast tour in 12, 18 months or whatever, right? So we've got a plan for each and every single day and each and every single week, and we've got an image for the future. And you just got to try and stay true to that. If you don't have a plan, then what have you got to commit to? So yeah, and just try and stay planned ahead, really.
Yeah. I mean, you seem like a very driven individual, and I have no doubt that you're going to succeed. So
I
I'm interested in getting to watch just from the background and watching you succeed.
Thanks, man. But that's down to the community, right? I mean, I wouldn't be here without that community. The community give me belief and trust that I know that I'm doing things the right way. Um, and honestly, the belief in myself in what we're doing is just so important. For one, that I never had self belief, and they've given me that over the last 9 months, and it's just very reassuring that I'm not on my own doing it now. I do have a team of people with me, and we're doing whatever we can for as many people as we can. And yeah, that drive comes from having failed for so much of my life already. You either learn from those mistakes or you just let them get to you. And I've just tried my best to learn from them, right? So yeah, honestly, there's so many things. It's like the stars have just aligned. I mean, not literally. I know there's so much work to go, but these 9 months that have happened, it's just been like clockwork. Everything that we've wanted to do has kind of happened and more. So yeah, it's such a crazy time, and just yeah, that drive comes from the community. If they didn't give me that belief, then we wouldn't have lasted 9 days, let alone 9 months, honestly. And now we're planning for the years, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. But there's also, there's the idea of, some people think of luck, and there's also, like, yeah, you started at the right time, but something that's very clear when I talk to you, is the appropriate way to look at luck is what luck actually is a good mix of being in the right place at the right time and making sure you're always prepared, right? And that seems
Right.
like that's what you are. It's like you're constantly working to better yourself and wanting to move forward. And when opportunities do arise, you're ready to jump on them. And that seems like that's the exact kind of person you are, if I'm kind of reading you right.
For sure. I mean, the Affinity Cup was kind of like, Hell Hades asked me, and I was like, do I really want to be doing this? And then I was like, let's just go for it. I was like, had a great time. I would have really kicked myself if I didn't do the Affinity Cup. And then we did the chicken contest, and I know look, I've been farming Gold 4 in Arena for like however long I can get to plat, but I've just been farming Gold 4 in the Great Hall. I know I wasn't going to win anything crazy in the Affinity Cup in the chicken competition, and we're up against Manable. But I jumped up at the chance just for my community. I didn't even know the rules for this chicken contest. I was just one of the first people there. So yes, I'll do it. I'll do whatever you need. I'll do some content creation for the game and for the community. I'll entertain where I can, and I'll put myself through an hour of pain and those chicken wings from my chat. Oh, so painful. I hope they appreciate it. But yeah, it was really good, and I am the first to jump at anything. Just to try and put more back to my community. I mean, they've done so much for me. The least I can do is eat 15 chicken wings with some stupidly hot sauce.
Right.
So yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm gonna wrap this up. When do you normally stream, Saf? Just so that it's here on the interview, so that if anybody's watching, they know where they can when they can find you.
Perfect. So yeah, so Monday to Fridays, for Raid, it's 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. UK time, up until like 2, 3 in the morning. So it's like 6 hours most nights. During the days, I'm flipping between different games, and during the days at the moment, because I can't, who can afford to play Raid 24/7? Not a
Right.
lot of people. So we play a few games during the day, StarCraft and Elite Squad has come out, Cyberpunk is coming out in the future. So during the days, we play some random games like Rocket League as well. But yeah, Raid is 9 or 10 p.m. weeknights. Saturday is 3 p.m. in the afternoon in the UK till 5 p.m. for the podcast. Sundays is Rocket League Sundays, where we just play Rocket League for like 8 to 12 hours a day, and just have some fun with that. So yeah, pretty much every day we're providing content of some kind. So yeah, make sure you come in and say hi. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, sounds good. And then for me, anyone that's watching this on YouTube, you can catch me live every day but Friday, starting at the daily reset. So that's 7 Central Time here in America. And then 2 hours later, I do actually do a sudoku with viewers. So it's something we've been working on for the last couple of weeks and getting quite a bit of good feedback on that. So uh,
Yeah.
thanks again for being on, Saf. I appreciate it, and good luck with your future adventures.
You too, man. Thanks a lot again for having me, and I'm looking forward to see who you have on next. And I look forward to when Deadwood comes on. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, me too. I hope that's sometime soon.
We'll see if we can make that happen. We'll see. There we go.